Dow Jones up 23 points today as we continue to get more bad news regarding the U.S. economy. And we're watching this relationship between the U.S. and China escalate. Now, China is arresting U.S. citizens in China. Also, this came out earlier today. China secretly ordered the NBA commissioner, Adam Silver, to fire the Houston Rockets general manager for his Hong Kong tweet. We are really living in crazy times here. Let's talk about what's going on. It's Thursday, October 17, 2019. I want to start out today by talking about this. I try to read as many comments as I possibly can, and they're just most enlightening, many people so intelligent, much smarter than myself. And as I've said many times, if you watch this show, please read the comments, because there are so many bright, intelligent people in those comments that's really where you're going to learn so much. So thanks to everybody who comments down below. It is a wealth of knowledge. But there's a small percentage of people that I've noticed commenting about China, how bad America is, how much they hate America. These are U.S. citizens, by the way, that hate their own country, who hate America. And I'm not here to say that America is perfect, that we haven't made mistakes and done some bad things. Absolutely, we have. We've had some problems with our government, who has gotten us into wars we shouldn't have been in and other things. But I don't hate my country. I don't necessarily love the government, but I love this country. So many people despise America who live here, this country that's allowed them to have a roof over the head, to eat, to have a life, and they have no idea what China is all about, this communist regime. The communist regime in China has killed over 65 million people in the last century. Okay, that's their own people. They killed 65 million of their own people. Some say it was 100 million. This didn't happen that long ago, yet we have people here in America defending China, like LeBron James, bowing down to China, rolling over, the NBA rolling over and bowing down to China. It's so sickening watching people like LeBron James and the NBA bow down to their masters. And I hope that most of America understands that this is a communist regime that has killed millions upon millions of people. And I hope that they understand that China is trying to be the world dominant superpower. China is trying to take over America. They own massive amounts of real estate here. They own Hollywood. They own production companies, studios. They own pork farms, agricultural farms here. They, at one point, were leasing the biggest shipping port on the West Coast here till this president got them out. China owns massive amounts of gold. They're holding massive amounts of U.S. debt, and they are continuing to use their authority and influence right here in America. And I think we should be very, very aware of what they're doing and how dangerous this country is, how dangerous this communist regime is. For these people out there that defend China, I dare those people to go move to China and go live in China. And hopefully their organs won't be harvested. Hopefully they won't be persecuted because they believe in God, or they're Buddhist, or they're Muslim. China has millions of people in concentration camps right now. Yet these people continue right here in America. They put down their own country and support China and admire China, more loyal to China than they are their own country here in America. How about making your own country a better place instead of supporting a communist regime that killed over 65 million people and is continuing to kill people today? So let's get into the financial aspect of things that is happening right here in America that is going to affect every one of you. Fed injects $104.2 billion via overnight term repos. That just happened today. The repo market remains broken. And for these people out there that have no idea what's going on, take a break from watching basketball and LeBron James, put down the beer, put down the weed, and start paying attention to the real game that's going to affect you. What a basketball team does or a football team does is not going to affect you. What will affect you is what's happening in the repo market, what's happening to your economy, what's happening to your pensions. This is what's really going to affect you. This is the biggest game in the world, and you should be paying attention because these athletes could care less who you are. Those games are not going to affect your life. This is. Why are the banks so scared to lend money to one another? And ask yourself, what do they know that you do not know? And I promise you, this is going to affect you. Housing starts, permits plunge in September. We saw a noticeable drop in September. Housing starts were down 9.4% month over month. Building permits were down 2.7% month over month. So anybody that's saying that this is a healthy economy, now this is a horrible economy. And this is more proof as we see what's happening in manufacture, the service sector, industrial, freight, and what we're seeing happening in real estate. These are all indicators of what is happening in your economy right now. But too many people out there are asleep. They're not going to be prepared for when this collapse hits America. And these people are going to be taken by surprise. I know most of you are not going to be. You're preparing daily, mentally, physically, and spiritually. You're going to be prepared for this. But we will witness the biggest wealth transfer in the history of the entire world. And we're going to witness it happen. Dow Jones is decoupled from the economy's industrial output. U.S. industrial production shrunk year over year. First time since this president was elected. September saw disappointment with headline output dropping 0.4% month over month. Year over year, industrial production has shrunk for the first time since the president's election in 2016. Manufacturing is down 0.5% month over month. We have a 4.2% decline in output of vehicles and parts. This is the largest decline since January. Yet the media keeps telling you to spend, run up your credit cards. The commercials are already out. Start Christmas shopping, run up those credit cards some more, and keep spending money you don't have. How many people are going to be shopping this December for Christmas that haven't even paid off last Christmas credit cards? I can't wait to see that number. MIT survey finds we have 22.1 million people here in America that shouldn't be here. They're here from other places. And so before we were thinking it was 11 or 12, that's what the media was saying. Now MIT did a study. Now it's confirmed 22.1 million people from all over the world here that should not be here. And guess who continues to pay for these people? You do. We pay for it with crime. We pay for it financially. Our hospitals pay for it. And just imagine if things really slow down, if the food shortage starts getting bad. We know what's happening with the Midwest farmers, the blizzards, the floods, everything that they're going through. What if America went through a real hardcore food shortage and we have over 22 million people that shouldn't even be here that we're feeding, that the U.S. citizen is paying with his tax money or her tax money to feed people that shouldn't even be here while we're having a food shortage? It just blows my mind. And how many people in America just think this is okay, this is acceptable? But apparently these people don't go out and work hard for their own money. They must be on government subsidy and they don't care, because if you had to pay for this with your own money, you might care. 80% of Americans now are living paycheck to paycheck. Again, this economy is not okay. It is absolutely downright horrible. A survey found, this is on Zero Hedge, why the measure of savings is entirely wrong. The survey found 58% of Americans had less than $1,000 saved up. I mean, that is, let me repeat that, 58%, almost 60% of America doesn't have $1,000 saved up. This is horrifying. Consumer debt, not including mortgages, now is breaking $4 trillion. And yet there's people out there, I know the little trolls will come out and just say everything's okay in my state, even though my state's broke and our pensions are broke, but everything's okay in my state because I live in this little town called Mayberry and we all have a job here. And, you know, I sold two cars on the car lot last month, so everything's okay. I'm here to tell you, this economy is bad. And if you're not preparing, you're going to be in big trouble. After people pay taxes and living expenses, there isn't anything left over for most people to save. And yet people are working 1, 2, 3 side hustles on top of their job, and they still can't get ahead. And this is why you have to be really, really smart here. This is why you may have to make sacrifices. You may have to cut some comforts out. You may have to cut some luxuries out to save up some cash, to have that emergency fund, to have some silver, to have some gold. You may have to make some sacrifices. And for the people out there who just cannot do it, I don't have an answer. I really don't. You either work more, you work harder, you work longer, and you cut things out and you save. Look, people, you got to stop trying to look rich. Too many people out there are so concerned about looking rich that they're going into debt doing it. Whether you're rich or poor, if you cannot save money, if you do not have structure, if you cannot budget, whether you're rich or poor, you're going to be broke. And that's just the bottom line. So one word of advice today is stop making excuses. Go work a couple extra hours, cut something out of your life, and start saving. You better start now, because I truly believe time is running out. It says here in the article, a family of 4 with an income of $58,000 is just getting by in many areas of the country. And in some areas, say San Francisco, New York, a family of 4 on $58,000, Los Angeles, you're not getting by. You're going to be in trouble. Government numbers suggest that the average American is saving 8% of his or her annual income. That might be true for the top 20%, but the bottom 80%, that is absolutely not true, because we know that 25% now are living just on credit cards. We know that nearly 60% of Americans don't even have $1,000 saved up. We know that people are continuing to acquire debt. We know that people don't have a net worth. We know that people are just getting by. 80% of America living paycheck to paycheck. It's very hard for people to save. I get it. Combined levels of income and debt are not keeping up with the cost of living. And for many people, they are on borrowed time. I was driving about 10 minutes from my house today, coming back from the gym, and I noticed another vacancy. It was Ace Hardware. This is probably about a 20,000 square foot store, 15 to 20,000 square feet. Ace Hardware closed. So I was really shocked to see that. Right across the street, there's an Aaron Brothers Furniture, closed. And so the vacancies continue to pile up. And I think to myself, what happens when that tax revenue is not coming into these cities? These cities are taking big hits as these vacancies are piling up with these retailers, this commercial real estate sitting vacant. The cities don't get the tax revenue. And somebody owns that building who's not getting a revenue, or the bank owns it, and now it's sitting on their books earning nothing. So it's just debt. And so it's just every day I continue to see things get worse. That's just reality. I'm just telling you, what I see. Don't hate the messenger here, but I'm just reporting to you another large vacant building today. This was an interesting article today. Federal debt up 1.2 trillion in fiscal year of 2019. Every household now is $9,432 deeper in debt now because of this added $1.2 trillion of debt that we've acquired for the fiscal year of 2019. Wolfstreet.com, housing bubble in Silicon Valley and San Francisco Bay Area turns to bust despite low mortgage rates and startup millionaires. We're starting to see things slowing down in the Bay Area, East Coast New York, the mega mansions in Los Angeles, where obesity places the biggest burden on healthcare. This is a very interesting article. You can look this up. I forgot where it was, but it's all over the internet. Obesity is responsible for 70% of all treatment costs for diabetes. It's responsible for 23% of treatment costs for cardiovascular diseases and 9% for cancers. Obese people are 2.4 times more dependent on prescriptions than healthy weight individuals. And of all the countries in the world, guess who the most obese country is. It is right here in the United States of America. No surprise. I'm sure you've been to your local Walmart. I don't shop at Walmart any longer, so I can't tell you. But if you've been to Walmart, as I have in the past, no doubt that is a reality check of what is happening right here in America. And it's really sad. Look, we've spoken many times. If things get really bad in America, if the lights go out, if you are on your own, you are not going to do well if you are obese. If you're, 50, 100 pounds overweight, some people 200, 300 pounds overweight, you are going to be a victim. And I can't stress to every one of you right now to get in better mental, physical, and spiritual shape. You are going to be 100% dependent on your body if the lights go out. If there is a cyber attack, a U.S. Economic collapse, a dollar collapse, any kind of black swan event where the grid goes down, what have you, and this is not far-fetched. I mean, we are literally inches away from something really, really big happening here, and people, because they've been so entitled here in America, just believe that that when they flip the switch, the lights are always going to come on, the water is always going to come on, they're going to have air conditioning and heat and free money from their government subsidized checks. That everything is going to be okay. But if you ask people from around the world, the possibilities of these things happening, they're very possible because many people around the world have seen it. They've lived through it. Ask people down in Mexico, Venezuela, Brazil. Just ask people around the world, parts of Asia. Things happen. And so you're going to have to depend on yourself. And if your body is 100 pounds overweight, I think you're going to have a very difficult time surviving. There's going to be a lot of violence out there. People are going to be looking to take advantage of people. And if you can't move, if you can't run, if you can't, get where you got to go, you're going to be in big trouble. If you're dependent, on pharmaceuticals, just obesity is a killer, and it is not going to be your friend in hard times. It is going to slow you down, and it is going to make you dependent on drugs. And listen, just medically, the problems that come with it, heart disease, cancers, diabetes, these things are not going to be assets for you when the lights go out. So take some advice today and start getting in better shape. Start changing your diet. Start heading in the right direction and doing something about it. Look, stop making excuses. Stop blaming other people. Too many people right now are blaming too many people for the problems. We can blame, the banks. We can blame this president. We can blame politicians. Look, the damage is done. Right now, you need to stop blaming people, and you need to start getting in touch with yourself and getting yourself in the best possible shape you can get in. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have to worry about you. Zero hedge today. China, Russia, Brazil, India, and now UAE, United Arab Emirates. Everybody wants a gold trading platform. I kind of went through this article a little bit. Check it out if you get a chance. But there's so much happening behind the scenes now with China and Russia and India, the United Arab Emirates, and many other countries now looking for a trading platform for gold. And I believe this is truly the future. I believe that countries are ditching the dollar. I believe at some point, maybe not right now because there aren't a lot of options, and countries in trouble running to the dollar for safety. It's the least sickest kid in the hospital, as we all know. But what's happened to many other currencies is eventually going to happen to the dollar. The dollar will be the last man standing, but eventually I truly believe that we will see a gold standard taking place. And I believe if America wants to remain in power, it's going to need a gold standard. We're going to possibly see a reset happen here in our economy. And in order to do that, we are going to have, I believe, back our currency, our dollar, with gold. And I believe that Russia and China, the UAE, India, and a sort of other countries know the same thing, that this is going to be the future, that the days of paper fiat currency is numbered. That doesn't mean it won't be here for a while longer. They're going to run it until they can no longer run it any longer. As long as people have faith in the US dollar, it's going to be here. But what happens when people and countries and the world begin to lose faith in the US dollar? The United States of America better be ready. It better have gold, because I can guarantee you that Russia, India, China, and the UAE do have gold. And if America doesn't, we're going to be in big trouble. And I pray to God that we have a lot of gold in Fort Knox, and I pray to God that we are prepared to make the transition, as many countries are going to do. And the ones holding paper that don't have gold are going to be the losers. I'm going to close with this. As these countries continue to stockpile gold and silver, as the central banks are stockpiling gold and silver, make sure that you are purchasing gold and silver also. Take a page out of what these countries are doing, what these central banks are doing, and what people who are awake are doing. And they're buying hard, tangible assets like gold and silver. Have an incredible week. God bless every one of you. Share this video with everybody. Put it up on your social media. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure that you like this video, and make sure you hit the bell notification down below so that you're notified with the newest video.